Onboarding is the most important process of your business, and today in this video I'm going to give you a full guide, or at least a framework that you can use or can replicate or can customize into your own onboarding process, because I'm telling you guys, it is the most important process, and it is the number one reason, or actually amongst many important reasons, but one of the most important of why people actually leave businesses. When you aren't greeted properly, think of it as a conversation or when you first meet someone. The first impression lasts. When you are met with someone or when you meet somebody, you immediately think something of them. Whether we like it or not, we judge people, and people are judging your business when you do not onboard them properly. Client agreement. Client agreement is basically the outline the terms of the relationship. You want to understand what the boundaries are for both sides, what expectations are, and multiple other things in between. A lot of things that you want to focus on putting forth in the contract is the working term, the payment, your guarantee, and the refund policy that goes with the guarantee, the expectations and violations if there are any. For example, if you are running a Facebook ad agency, let's take a very basic example, running a Facebook ad agency and an account gets banned, that isn't your fault, right? And you cannot be liable for a banned account. Therefore, you say, if we do not have a banned account back up in a certain amount of days, then you guys have to pay da 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 da. There are certain people that do this and that will protect themselves from these types of instances. And I think it is important to outline all of these in the contract so both you and the client know what they're walking into and what's going on between the both of you. Onboarding form and questionnaire. This is also extremely important because it allows you to understand what the client is looking for and actually where they stand before they come to you, and how far the gap is from A, where they are right now, to B, where you're trying to bring them. In this questionnaire, you need to include things like their account info or their other personal info that may matter in your process, depending on what your fulfillment looks like. You just want to receive everything that will give you a full picture of the current situation at hand. Next is actually piggybacking on the onboarding form. So you will now use these answers to set up the tools that you need for fulfillment. So I just mentioned that we set up a Google Drive account, in which we do. We actually set this up. We set up multiple folders that we would need in order to fulfill for a client, whether that's getting their videos edited, getting raw footage from there, the thumbnails, everything that just encapsulates our process, we put into this folder. You also want to attach your CRM or whatever you're using to communicate with your client. So you want to establish that early, whether that's Slack or Monday. You want to set that up so you can communicate effectively with the client. Also, we set up all the social media accounts in this process so we have everything ready and good to go when we want to hit the green light with this client. Before we launch though, we go straight into the onboarding call. So now this is the famous onboarding call that everyone continues to talk about in onboarding. You need to finally meet your client face to face after the sales call process to let them know and kind of welcome them into your community. In this call, what you want to discuss is the contract agreement that you've drawn up, so you could actually talk about it face to face if they have any questions or concerns about it. You want to talk about the expectations that you have for either party, and also the goals and benchmarks that you want to establish and where you want to go and where they see themselves going, right? You want to understand what their vision is. By understanding their vision, you could actually align yourself better with them, and that actually makes them stay with you for longer when you see eye to eye and say, oh, I can take you here and I align with you here, and they will feel like you resonate with them and that this is the right place for them. I'm telling you, 99% of why people stay with the company isn't necessarily because they do an amazing job. Of course, they want them to do a good job, but it's because they actually like who they're working with and they can tolerate who they're working with. Next thing that we like to communicate in our onboarding calls is our future meeting times and also our communication moving forward. I mentioned communication in the last slide, but communication and our future meeting times are very important to establish as well, just so everyone is on the same page regarding the schedule in which we are getting things done and meeting each other after we have gone to our own corners to work on certain things. After our onboarding call, this isn't necessary, but for our process, we like to have two calls. We have the onboarding call where we talk about expectations and everything I just mentioned. And then we also have a growth call where we talk about the actual content strategy and how we are going to establish this and ingrain this in their current work process. So they, like, you have to imagine these guys are business owners, right? These guys are very, very busy on a daily basis. And it's our job to take the time off their hands regarding content creation. So we have this growth and strategy call to understand where they are in the process from A to B. In this call, we'd like to establish their initial strategy, their comfort zone and their discomfort zone, that realistic trajectory that we can reach in the time that they will be with us, which is around 6 months. And in 6 months, if you do what you're supposed to do properly, you can go quite far. But in this call, basically, we just established how we're going to grow, what strategies we're going to use to grow, and how we're going to execute it. The last thing of the onboarding process that a lot of people actually like to skip over, they like to get straight into the work, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but something that will actually boost the morale of the whole team and get your client excited to work with you, which you definitely want, is you want that excitement, you want that hit of dopamine for your client, is to give them a gift. And a lot of people are like, gift? Why do I have to have stuff come out of my pocket? If you understand this, if the money comes out of your pocket now, and you give them a gift, whether it's a free gift, well, obviously gifts are free, but whether it's free for you or not free for you, if you make that small investment in your client, think about how much they will be willing to invest in you and your company and how long they will stay with you, right? There are so many great business owners that understand this. Every time they sign a client, they do this, right? And by doing this, they have reaped significant benefits. In simpler terms, that gets the job done. That makes customers stay and stick. But this is a quick overview and guideline for a walkthrough of an onboarding system that will carry you to success. You just have to outline it for yourself. I'm not here to give you the step-by-step so you can copy and paste our onboarding process, because our onboarding process won't help you for your business. So what I want you to do is take what I've just given you today and mold it into your own process and then give that to your client. And trust me, you will see the results that you are looking for.